So we're back on the Eldorado again this week. We probably will be for a while because I'm kind of making this my main project. So we don't have any time lapses this week, but got some exciting news about some parts we acquired for it. And we'll kind of show you some of the things we've done, moving the shop around a little bit so we can get to work on it. And yeah, let's dive into a couple things about it and we'll go from there. So firstly, as you can see, we've moved the car out of the garage. I've put Little Ghost in storage for a while so we can kind of focus on the Eldorado, have some more room to work. And now you can see the whole car by stepping back and kind of looking over what we got. So we had a few things show up in the way of parts for it this week. I got the new windshield trim piece that we've been missing. Found that on eBay and that came in. And that's actually off of a 66 or 67 Buick Riviera. It turns out it's real difficult to get Eldorado parts, but I was able to get the piece for the Riviera relatively inexpensively and very easily. So we got that part now. And then the other part that we were missing back here, we got in our nice complete side marker light, which is pretty cool. Now we got a matching set. And now you can really kind of get an idea of the work we did on the rust repair and that front fender along the rockers and filling in the holes for the trim. Looking pretty good. Up here, I've gone ahead and removed the front marker light on this side, as well as on that side. And now we got a little bit more room over here to work, so I can do some of the welding on this other side here. But the coolest thing is that my dad and I found a new engine for it, a rebuilt engine. And this obviously is not the rebuilt engine. This is an old 500 block I had sitting around that I got a few years ago from a friend. And I mean, at some point it could be rebuilt, but what it allowed me to do is build these here, this set of engine stands, because the engine that we found is actually up in Washington. And my dad's going to be going up to pick that engine up early next week. So I made this set of stands, which will allow him to be able to put the engine in the back of his truck and transport it rather easily. So again, this is just a spare block I have. Made some stands for it, and that'll allow us to bring the new engine home. So that's pretty cool. Also, I've been kind of wondering about something on this car since I got it. If you look around the dash, over here you've got your glove box, and then you've got a stereo, auxiliary gauges down here, your regular gauges up here, and your air conditioning and your headlights, but no windshield wiper switch, which was a little odd to me. But after I did some research, I answered a question I've had for a while. So there's this weird little pod on the door right here. And this is actually where the windshield wiper switch goes. It just sits right in this little pod. And the wiring goes into it. And we're missing it. So that's another component that I found on eBay. And that's on the way too, which will be cool, so we can have a complete set of electronics for this vehicle. Also, in the back, before, let's see if we can pop the seat forward here. So before, you may remember the back seat was kind of falling down and not really in the right place, so we put that in the right place. And then I actually found a lower seat cushion, again out of a Buick Riviera, that'll fit in this place where we're missing our back seat lower cushion. So that's on order 2, and hopefully it'll show up in the next few days. And that'll give us a complete interior. And it's the wrong color, so we're going to have to go ahead and recover it. But I'm excited to have all of the missing pieces at this point on the way. And then finally, over here under this pile of junk, you can see a really dirty looking transmission. So this transmission and final drive unit are out of a 1985 Eldorado. And the upside to these is that it's got an overdrive in it. So I'm going to rebuild this transmission, build it a little bit beefier than it would have been stock so it can handle the new motor. And then we'll pair that up with the fresh motor, and we'll have a complete drivetrain to just go ahead and pull this old unit out and swap in the nice new parts. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I've also made the decision that I'm going to rip out all this air conditioning stuff and the condenser up front. And we're going to go with a modern, like aftermarket, generic air conditioning system. Part of the reason for that is they're simpler. The compressors themselves are more compact. And I can remove a lot of this excess stuff here in the engine compartment and gain some space to go ahead and have a cleaner install. And one of the other things I've been thinking about is what to do about our intake manifold. Because these factory intake manifolds, as you can see, are kind of low slung and not very good for performance. And they do make an aluminum aftermarket intake manifold that's a nice performance unit. However, it turns out that the reason why that intake manifold is like that is actually because of the Eldorado. Of all of the vehicles Cadillac was producing during this time period, the Eldorado had the lowest hood, and the engine was up the highest in the engine compartment to clear the front wheel drive components. So I can't put an aftermarket intake on this engine without coming through the top of the hood, which I don't want to do. So what I'm going to do is take one of these stock cast iron units, and I'll go ahead and I'll slice out these extra components here in the internal so that I can port it and improve the performance and airflow and fuel mixture flow into the intake manifold. It's not really going to do anything to save me any weight, but it'll make it perform a little bit better to open that plenum up. So that's what we're going to do on the intake and the air conditioning. So yeah, some pretty exciting developments overall. We're happy to be able to see the whole car here. And hopefully, if all goes well, next time we make a video, we'll have a nice engine on a stand ready to go. So that's going to do it for this week. Some exciting developments, picking up a new motor for it. I shouldn't say new, it's a rebuilt engine, but still much better than the old seized up motor that we currently have. We got some new parts, we got some new ideas. A little shorter video this week, but still pretty excited about it. And I'm excited to come in next week, maybe get some shots of the new engine and kind of have some fun with the fabrication now that we've got some more space in the shop. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll just keep plugging away. I'm hoping to get the transmission rebuilt here pretty soon, so get some parts for that and start tearing it apart, and we'll do some videos on that. That's going to be a crazy experience. There's about 1 million parts in an automatic transmission, and it takes some effort to put them back together the right way. And you gotta have a nice clean environment to do it. So there's a lot of steps to that, and it'll be kind of interesting to go through the process with you. And yeah, I think that about covers it for this week. And then next week we'll come back in and have some pictures and some updates and have some more fun. And until then, have a good one.